This is going to be both a raiding, so single target, and Mythic Plus, so AoE, guide to Balance Druid in 11.2 of World of Warcraft. It's going to be very casual and beginner friendly. We will be showing you the correct rotation, but we're not going to go super duper in depth and confuse you as a new player, casual player, or beginner of this class or spec. So what we have here is the left-hand side of the top priority, the right-hand side, the bottom priority of your damage rotation. This UI, excluding these, I'm just using these for the video, is set up via my LVUI profile. If you'd like to get it, it is available on my Patreon, where you can support the channel. So the first thing to note is that we have something called an Eclipse as a Balance Druid. So as you can see here from our keystone talent, Eclipse, casting 2 Starfires empowers Wrath. Casting 2 Wraths empowers Starfire. Now, because we've gone for the hero talent, a Lune's Chosen, we are only going into a Lunar Eclipse. Now, I know that may be confusing. So basically, we have this spell here, Wrath, does some nature damage and generates astral power. Another resource I'll be talking about shortly. When we use 2 Wraths, so sun spells, we go into a Lunar Eclipse. And you can see that down here on our buffs. Arcane spells in a Lunar Eclipse will deal more damage. Starfire's damage is increased and deals more damage to nearby enemies. And that's this spell here, Starfire. So basically, 2 sun spells, Wrath, takes you into a Lunar Eclipse, enhancing all of our astral power spells, which is a lot of them for us in a Lune's Chosen. If we were using 2 Starfires, you'll notice nothing happens. Even though it says here, casting 2 Starfires empowers Wrath. Now, you may be thinking, well, why is it not happening then? That's because of Lunar Calling. Starfire deals a massive amount of extra damage to its primary target, but no longer triggers Solar Eclipse. So basically, in a Lune's Chosen, it's actually good for beginners because we don't have to worry about 2 different eclipses. Basically, you're only ever going into Lunar Eclipse. Hopefully that solves that if you were getting confused. So now that we've understood eclipses, which is basically use 2 Wraths to go into a Lunar Eclipse, whenever you come back out of your Lunar Eclipse, use 2 Wraths again to go back into Lunar Eclipse. You always want to be in your Lunar Eclipse. So we use 2 Wraths to get into that Lunar Eclipse and deal a lot more astral damage. Then we're going to use our dots, damage over time spells. Moonfire, which as you can see will cleave to nearby targets, and Sunfire, which will also do the same. Moonfire is a quick beam of light that burns and then for an additional amount and generates some astral power. That's this resource here. And Sunfire does the same but with nature damage. Basically, keep these dots up on your targets at all times. Then we want to use the Fury of Elune, calling down a beam of pure celestial energy, following the enemy, dealing massive astral damage, and it will damage secondary targets but at a reduced amount. Generates 40 astral power over its duration. And you can see here, I've now reached a maximum of 100 astral power. So once you've used your Fury of Elune, we then want to use our Incarnation Chosen of Elune. This is basically going to grant both eclipses, but we only really want Lunar anyway, so we don't care about the other one. Any celestial alignment bonuses and 10% critical strike chance. So basically, we do a lot more damage using this massive cooldown. You get 2 charges of it as well. Then we need to look at using our astral power, and we're going to use that on Star Surge if it's 1 to 2 targets, or in AoE, we'd use it on Starfall. And you can see here it costs 40 or 50 astral power. So I'm going to use Star Surge, and I want to use it as much as I can in quick succession, up to 3 times, and that is because of the Star-Lord buff. So you can see here, Star-Lord. Star Surge and Starfall grant you 4% haste for 15 seconds. It stacks up to 3 times, but gaining a stack does not refresh the duration. So what do I mean by that? So if I use, you can see I've got 66 astral power, and I use Star Surge, I then get a stack of Star-Lord, meaning my haste is increased by 4%. Then, you can see here I've got 7 seconds. If I use it again, I've now got 2 stacks of it. But the countdown is still going, meaning if you get 3 stacks of it, but you've only got like a second left, you're only going to get that last 4% haste buff for a second. So you want to make sure you use your Star Surge 3 times as quickly as possible to maximize how long you have 2 to 3 stacks of that Star-Lord buff. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, in single target, we use Star Surge. In AoE, we use Starfall. So basically, in Mythic Plus, we use Starfall. In single target and in raiding or on bosses, we use Star Surge. Then we're going to use Warrior of Elune, another short cooldown, where your next 3 Starfires are instant cast and generate 30% increased astral power. So I can use that where my Starfires are then instant and generate even more astral power. This is basically our filler spell. Cooldown a burst of energy using arcane damage and to nearby enemies. Generate some astral power. And that is basically just our filler. So let's go over the rotation again. It's pretty much the same whether you're doing multiple targets or single target. The reason being Moonfire and Sunfire, we can easily get on multiple targets. We can also get Fury of Elune up, which will do damage to secondary targets. We can use Starfall in multi-target, Star Surge in single target, and Starfire also does damage to multiple targets. So 2 Wraths to get into Lunar Eclipse. Get your dots up, Moonfire and Sunfire. Cooldown Fury of Elune, use your cooldown. Then use your 2 stacks of Star Surge. Then what I would do is use Warrior of Elune. Okay, then use your 3rd stack of Star Surge to get those 3 stacks of Star Lord up. And basically use Starfire as your filler until you come out of Lunar Eclipse, where you use 2 Wraths to go back into Lunar Eclipse and do the same rotation again. And that's pretty much it. Using Wrath to get into Lunar Eclipse, keep your dots up, use your cooldowns, use your Star Surge and Starfall to spend your astral power, use Warrior of Elune on cooldown to enhance your Starfire, and use Starfire as your filler. And that is pretty much it. Let's go over some other cooldowns and utilities quickly. Bark Skin is a great defensive. We can go into Bear Form for a defensive. Innovate you can use on healers when they're running out of mana. Mark of the Wild buffs everyone. Rebirth is your battle res where you can resurrect people in battle. Renewal is a great defensive to heal yourself for 30% maximum health. Stampeding Roar is a great movement speed increase. I'm just highlighting these so that you can look a bit further into them. As a beginner, I don't want to overwhelm you. And then one really interesting one, especially in Mythic Plus, is Solar Beam. This is one of the absolute best interrupts in the game. Summons a beam of solar light over an enemy, interrupting the target and silencing all enemies within the beam, meaning you can interrupt all targets in a small area, something that really no one else can actually do. And you want to be interrupting your enemy spellcasting as much as possible, specifically in Dungeons and Mythic Plus. And there we go, guys. That is how you play Balance Druid in patch 11.2 as a beginner or casual player. And if you are looking to get my UI, remember, you can get it on my Patreon and check the playlist on screen as I do all specs in the game each season for beginners and casual players.